everyone. Today we got to play Waffle Time. Now, this is a game about making waffles.
Improperly making waffles because you're putting fruit on them.
Listen, we have disagreements on whether fruit belongs to waffles. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell because board games are amazing, and that's what we do here at Legends of Nirvana. Now, this is an AEG game, and it's also going to be played at the big game night. This is, we got to borrow a copy.
Because Rob is going to be demoing these at the big game night, so he got an advanced copy to learn how to play, so we're going to review it while we got a chance to play.
Yeah, so it's not released yet, but it's about to be.
Yeah, it'll be releasing at Gen Con, so when you're seeing this video, it's probably now available.
Yes. Where do you find it? Well, you can go to the AEG booth. You can go to Big Game Night.
Other than that, it's not available for pre-order in very many places, so you're going to have trouble finding it. We'll talk about that in a second.
So, Randy, can you tell us the designers and the artists?
I can talk more about it, yes. Waffle Time, 2023 release, as we mentioned, 1 to 4 player game. It's 25 to 30 minute game, and that's about right. It was a pretty short game. Age 10 and up, I think that's probably about right. I think Sarah wouldn't be able to play this and would enjoy it.
Sarah's 9, so I mean, I think if your children are more familiar with gaming, I don't think you have to be 10. I think you could probably do 8 or 9 and be fine.
It's designed by Maxime Demeyer. I'm going to go with that. It's probably not that. There's lots of E's in this name. I apologize in advance. Art is interestingly, it's by Egg Butter Toast.
Seriously, that's awesome.
I assume that's a company name and not an individual's name.
But
it's one word, Egg Butter Toast.
It should be.
If we decide to adopt a child one day, we're going to have their name be Egg Butter Toast.
No, but
that would be awesome. All right, published is by AEG, and it's an abstract puzzle game, grid coverage, pattern building, and set collection. Now, as far as finding this, right now there's 2 people selling it new on Board Game Geek for $30. I don't know how they're selling it new yet because it hasn't been released yet, but somehow they are. There's also CSI, Cool Stuff Inc. is the only place I found it, and it's selling pre-order for $30.99. So I'm going to go with the MSRP is $39.99. I don't know for sure because I couldn't find an MSRP for it. But that's what, given the fact CSI usually marks things down a bit, I'm going to go with that. So,
yeah. All right. So let's talk about the quality of components. Now, you do have cardboard chits for your fruit, but they're actually like in the shape of the fruit, and not just by a little bit. These look like very realistic fruit pieces
that belong way far away from a waffle, but they look nice as a fruit salad.
Yeah, no, they're great on. Well, I don't know about cherries.
Yes, I can see strawberries. I'll give you the rest
of it. And bananas.
Bananas are evil and should not be on anything.
Blueberries are yummy. Blackberries, even. It's the cherries that throw me off because it even has a stem with a leaf. But
all of them have stems on them except for the bananas.
No, the blueberries don't.
Yeah, well, blueberries have seeds, so they're nasty, and blackberries have lots of seeds, which make them nasty.
You're weird. All right, so, but I do like that they did this because it does look like the fruit. The reason why they probably put the stems so is that it's looking more like the fruit. Your syrup are these clear plastic. I say clear. It has a slightly syrup hue to it that you will end up using, and then you have cardboard whipped cream on it as well. Now, the card quality is no linen finish.
It's got a slight texture on it, but it's definitely not pronounced, and
it feels slick.
Yeah, well, the back of it doesn't. The front of it, I agree, kind of does.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
But it's thin. They're not full thickness.
They're not like crazy thin, but they're not.
Yeah, they're not great.
But to be honest, you're not shuffling these. You're not doing much with them. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then you have your cardboard player boards. Again, it's just a square. These chits are actually pretty cool. I'm going to give it a 6 because of these. Other than that, I don't think there's anything like truly amazing about the game.
No.
As far as eye candy goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a puzzle game. You don't expect there to be a whole lot to it. The syrup, I will say, does look like if you dripped syrup on your table, it's what it looks like. Little beads of syrup then
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, now my table's sticky. But yeah, thankfully they did not make them sticky. So, I think the beads are nice touch, and the fruit being as colorful as it is attractive. But yeah, they're just cardboard chits. They're not anything outstanding. I think a 6 is fair.
All right, so now let's move on to the actual theme. The theme is you're making your waffle, right? But to appreciate it the most, right? You want to do a wonderful design on your waffle. This is a bit much, okay? It is a puzzler game. It's not heavy.
The Feng Shui waffle.
Yeah, but you know what? You cannot have your fruit underneath whipped cream, which I'm pretty sure that's how everyone normally does it.
No, not cherries. You put it on top of the whipped cream.
But everything else normally goes under. But in this game, that is not the case. No, I don't think the theme is supposed to be that heavy.
No,
but I do think
it's an abstract. You're lucky to have a theme.
I know, and it is cute. It's definitely cute. It's relatable to families and specifically kids. So I'll appreciate it with the 6. It's there. It exists.
Yeah.
And it's
as much as I'm tempted to lower the score just because of the fact you're putting fruit on a waffle, which is just outright wrong, I'm still going to give it a 6 as well. I think, as abstracts don't typically have themes. Well, if you're making a waffle, it's a fun theme. You want to eat waffles after you play it. Actually, I had for lunch today, I had French toast because it was the closest I could get to a waffle in a timely fashion because I had a meeting.
Oh my goodness. I just made you waffles the other day too. So Randy, what do you think of the rule book?
Well, the rule book is 8 pages long, so it's a quick read. It's not difficult. It doesn't have a cover. They go straight into the contents and components. It's got a backstory that's a paragraph or 2 long, which is kind of interesting. The fact that you're just building waffles and they build a backstory on it.
Hey, it's important.
Yep, it's a wonderful lazy morning and your stomach is grumbling. What's the heavy smelling coming from the kitchen? It's waffle time.
Hey, I would be there.
Yeah.
Especially because normally I'm the one that's cooking it.
Well,
so if the waffles appeared.
What if you're having a heavy smell from a waffle? You probably burned the waffle. Because it's a light smell. They're light and fluffy. It's not like you're making some kind of really smell like bacon, where it's going to permeate the entire house.
Okay, so here's the problem. When I'm cooking waffles, I'm also cooking bacon.
Okay, well, yeah, but it doesn't say that.
Listen, just because you don't have a great sense of smell doesn't mean the rest of us don't.
So then your setup is actually a full page, which is kind of surprising because there are a lot of little bits, but it's a very simple game. The rule book is how to play is really just 2 pages long with some in-game scoring at the end. Then there's a whole section on card clarifications, which. Yeah, I guess it's good to have that. In this case, they're pretty self-explanatory, but it's good to have it there.
Yeah, but if you're not familiar with, iconography and things like that, I can see that being very, very useful.
And then they do have a solo mode, which is like a half page, but it basically goes through and tells you if you get a certain score, what your rank is, and gives you a name. Right. But yeah, there's not a lot to the rulebook. I think it does a fine job. It's not confusing at all. I give it a 7.5.
Okay, all right. So now let's talk about the actual gameplay. So if you're playing with 4 players, because we're going to play pretend, guys, we're going to start out here. Each of us one of the colors. Now, when the turn starts, you're going to look to see if your, like mine, is on a space with no syrup. So I'm not going to get any. But Randy, on the other hand, is going to get some.
So you start with 6 syrup to begin with. Actually,
correct. Now, when you went to start your waffle, your starting setup is on the back of your syrup card. So once you've done your setup, you're going to flip it back over. You're going to put your 6 syrup on here. Okay. I didn't realize how important syrup was until I ran out. So yes. we'll talk through that here in a minute. All right. So basically I'm first player because I'm in the first row. Now I'm allowed to pick any of the spots, but the further I get, it could mean that I'm in the later places.
For the next turn.
For the next round. So I'm going to look at the board and I want to build a certain setup. Now, what am I looking for? It's these cards right here. So each of the fruits have a goal as far as placement. So blackberries want to be in a 4 square. Bananas want to be in between 2 fruit.
Oh, no, the other way around. You want 2 fruit between the bananas.
Correct. And then you have strawberries and an L with a fruit whipped cream here in the corner. So each one of those things, if you're trying to do these different magazines, cherries need to be in a straight line. So I'm going to go look and see what I have available to me and what would make the most sense in my placement. So I am actually going to go here, and I am going to take another syrup.
That's my syrup. You stole my syrup. You're not allowed to steal syrup from your opponents.
You're not. And then I'm going to get a cherry. Now, typically, when you have 2 fruits, you're going to have to set them beside each other. So in the cardinal directions. But in the case I only have 1, I can just place 1. So I'm going to go here. And I'm going to set my cherry on top of the whipped cream, which you are allowed to do. Things can go on top of the whipped cream. They cannot go underneath them. So when you go to place that, the whipped cream has to be the first thing placed. Now, it will be Randy's turn. Well, yellow will have went.
That's me.
Oh, good.
Yellow. Yeah.
Yay!
So,
I didn't realize you were yellow.
So I've already got a blackberry and a banana. So I'm going to continue my blackberry and banana empire here, and I will get 2 things I would never eat in my life.
So they have to be side by side.
Yes. So I want to arrange these in such a pattern that I get a, well, this is going to be kind of a tricky one because I don't have a way of getting my 2 bananas, but I can maybe have one path going this way and one going this way and score points both directions. So we'll do that. We got 2 blackberries there now. Oh, did I just do what I did last time? Well, there's double blackberry you can get because it's right there now, but probably won't still won't be able to complete it. I'm very bad at blackberries.
So then red's going to take their turn and green's going to take their turn. And then when we go back, we're going to come back in the opposite direction. Now, I'm being last place. I will now get 2 syrups.
Not mine. And
then Randy will not get any syrup. And then the other players would get their syrup. Now, so then the new round begins. We're going to flip where the fork is. And then we are going to move 1 space. And then we're triggering the next round. Now, there are a couple of things that we're looking for. So if we place that round and we achieve, so for example, this is 4 in the diagonal with the syrup, you can claim that victory. If you do, you get the butter, which is 2 victory points, but then you also get 3 VP for completing that card. Now, anyone else can get the 3 VP, but they cannot get the butter. The butter has to go on an empty space, and it just takes up a space. Nothing can go on it or can be underneath it. So that's that. And then, so we're going to take our turns. And once we eventually accomplish one of these displays, we're going to be able to place syrup on our routine. So if over the course of the game, I end up with this, for example, I've got 3 cherries in a row. It will trigger this. I'm going to take 3 syrup from my syrup can and I'm going to place them. Now let's talk about victory points. So if I have a fruit with the syrup, it is 1 victory point. If I have the whipped cream, fruit, and syrup, then I get 3 victory points, okay? So they are substantially worth more. So it may benefit you quite nicely to get the whipped cream as well when you talk about placement. And if you do not have syrup to place, you cannot place them. However, you can use the same fruit to trigger the shape with a slight variation, right? So I have 3 in a row, but if I did this and I have 3 this direction, I could complete the 2 cherries that weren't involved.
Right. And that would also complete another one, which is a plus sign that we have for 3 victory points. So.
Right. So just being aware that there are options. So even if, for example, I only had 2 syrup and only got to complete 2, I could leave 1 empty and then hopefully be able to trigger it again through some more actions, which I had to do a couple of times because I ran out of syrup. So syrup was a little more valuable than I originally anticipated with this game. So you're going to keep playing the rounds until you come all the way back. So you're going to move 1 space each time until you reach the very end. And then that is the final round after everyone takes their turn. And then you score victory points. They have a nice little score pad that you fill it out and figure out how many we got the most points. Overall, it was a cute game. I thought it was a cute little puzzler. I had fun. I definitely see playing with this with Sarah again. I definitely see it playing with, some teenagers, people that like these light.
I think your mom would enjoy it.
I think, actually, you know what? Now that you say that, I really do think she'd like it. So I am excited that we'll end up getting it at AEG game night. Overall, scoring-wise, I'll give it a 7. I liked it. I thought it was cute. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm probably right there with you, although I really am bad at this because I think the blackberries are just evil is the problem because they always give you the worst arrangements.
Your always the weirdest thing. I'm like, why did you place it there? Out of all the ones you picked,
I'm good at puzzlers in general. This one and the other one we played that night were stumping me. So
lately, your puzzler. You need some work on.
Yeah, that's just like you need some work on Agricola. So there's that.
I don't want to talk about it.
So anyway, yeah, this one's the puzzle placement on this one. I think it's because I just hate blackberries that much that I'm having trouble placing them, but and bananas for that matter. But I struggled with this one just for the placement issues. But I like the concept of it, and I liked the fact that I love waffles. I just think that they're being contaminated. 7 I think is a fair score for this.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We had an absolute blast, and hopefully you'll come hang out with us again. We'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
It's designed by Maxime Demeri. Designed by Maxime Demeri. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that.
Try that again.
I don't want to.
That was miserable.
Demeyere. There's too many E's in that name. Demeyere? You're only allowed so many E's. You're not allowed to just throw in E's just for the fun of it.
You're just going to have to spell it out. Okay, try again.